Hi everybody, my name is Nyara and I did a video a few months back about, actually I'm pretty sure it was over a year ago now that I think about it, about being in Taiwan. And I am finally back here for the next 5 months. I've actually already been back for a month, but yeah, I would really like to do more often, do more video series and just talk about my experience living here every day and compare it to my experience living here for a few weeks. So yeah, just give it a moment and then I'll tell you guys what it's like living here. So the first thing that I would really like to touch up on is the fact that I'm actually living with my Chinese teacher's mom. So I'm living with an old Taiwanese woman in the south part of Taiwan. Now, I emphasize in the south part of Taiwan because this is actually a very, very important point in my video blog today. Because, when we talk about Taiwan, we tend to generalize and just be like, Taiwan, bam! But actually, when expats talked about countries, we tend to be just like, oh, this country, bam. But actually, that's not really a fair comparison. I mean, it's like saying, oh, America's so big and so diverse. You can't actually just say America, bam, because America has New York and then you have Texas. And I mean, those are two completely different places, right? So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about Taipei, Taiwan and Kaohsiung, Taiwan. So going back to our New York, Texas comparison, I would go as far as to say that Taipei is your New York. It's metropolitan, it's chic, and the people there are more well versed in international culture. That's not to say that the rest of Taiwan isn't, but I mean, whenever we compare capital cities with the rest of the country, it's usually like this. It's not surprising. The largest population of foreigners probably lives in Taiwan, and the people there are more aware of foreign culture. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that probably a lot more people there speak English. And in the city that I'm in Kaohsiung, the people, they're more cultural, if I can say that. I mean, it's not like they're not aware of international culture, but they're very proud of their own culture. And here in Kaohsiung, they speak their own local language, actually. A lot of the old people actually hardly speak Mandarin. So, I mean, okay, where I'm living, with the lady I'm living with, she speaks Mandarin to me, but to her husband, to her relatives, they all speak Taiwanese. So it's a completely different language. And this might be a culture shock to a foreigner who comes to Kaohsiung, maybe after being in Taipei for a while, but I think it's okay. I think you get used to it, and I think, you tend to acclimatize yourself. So the first difference that I would like to touch on is the fact that people in Kaohsiung tend to be more invested in your life. And what that basically means is, for instance, I am not a girl of the smaller size. I am definitely of the larger than average size. And I am not ashamed of that, but I'm not proud of it either. I mean, I feel like you can improve upon your body and you can love your body at the same time, but know that it needs improvement. So, yeah. And Ama, the lady I live with, because Ama is like grandmother in Taiwanese, she insists I lose weight. Like, it's like, okay, like everything. She like watches with her hawk eyes and she's like, you need to lose weight. The one time I actually found it really funny. She says to me, oh, you must eat more, you must eat more. Because that's Taiwanese culture, that's being polite. You need to encourage your guests or encourage the young people in your life to eat more, to be healthy. Then I said to her, oh, okay. Then she says to me, you're saying okay? How can you be that fat and say okay? Now, don't get me wrong. When these people say these kind of comments, it's not out of spite. It really comes from a place of they care. And I know that's hard to believe because in the West we don't believe in that. But considering that she took me into her house and she's looking after me for no fee, and she's really, really helped me. I really think it does come from a place of care. I am convinced. I'm convinced. Maybe perhaps other people have had that experience, but I'm convinced it comes from a place of care. So, yeah, always, always. Oh, you should do this to lose weight. You should do this to lose weight. And I think, the best is to just sort of be like, okay, okay, acknowledge what they've said. Perhaps try it one or two times. You don't argue with old people. I don't think you should argue with old people because everybody is stubborn and opinionated, so rather just do your own thing. And yeah, just show that you've tried, and they'll appreciate that, and you'll be happier in the long run. I think that's the best way. So that's what I do. I just say, oh, okay, and then I try one or two times, and sometimes some of the stuff really does help, like not eating rice at night. But a lot of the stuff is really just, if I can say, it's really just conjecture and has no science or logic behind it, in my opinion. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't really stick with. But yeah, the first thing is how invested that they are in your life. And it's not just in your weight, but it's also in your love life. Like, I haven't had a boyfriend for a while now, and Amma and her relatives are always, always asking me about when I'm going to get a boyfriend. And they attribute it to my weight, which it might be, but I feel like, well, if he only wants you because you're skinny, then perhaps you shouldn't be dating that guy. But yes, so always the question, when are you gonna get a boyfriend? Oh, you still don't have a boyfriend. Oh, so bad. 好糟糕. Then this one I haven't personally experienced, due to my lack of a boyfriend. But I actually have a friend who's married, and whenever she goes to the market, she also speaks Mandarin. She's an American who speaks Mandarin, and the ladies at the market will ask her, "Oh, 你结婚了吗? Are you married?" And she'll be like, 对. 然后 they'll ask her, "Oh, do you have kids?" And she'll be like, "Oh, 我没有, I don't have kids." And then they'll say to her, 你没有小孩,你一定要有小孩. Oh, how can you not have kids? Like, you must have kids. You must hurry up and have kids. And it always amazes me just how invested and how vigorous they are about it, because in my opinion it actually has nothing to do with them. But that is definitely something that I can attribute to the older generation of the south part of Taiwan. And I think a lot of expats will agree with me with this, the level of investment. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but for Westerners who perhaps come from a background of being of not having other people's information, perhaps that might be a little bit overwhelming. But really, don't take it too hard. It really isn't like that. The second thing I would like to talk about the South is actually much more pleasant. It's the weather. Now, when I arrived in Taiwan from South Africa, it was summer in South Africa, so it was getting nice and warm. Okay, well, I actually spent 3 weeks in Korea prior to coming to Taiwan. So I spent 3 weeks in Korea around Christmas and New Year, and that was bitter cold. Bitter cold. Yeah, Korean winter is no joke. But after that, I went back to South Africa, and that was nice and warm. Then I went back to Zimbabwe, and that was too hot. And then after Zimbabwe, I came back. I came to Taiwan. And actually, when I landed in Taipei because the flights there were much much cheaper than the flights to straight to Kaohsiung, and it was pouring buckets. I just arrived there, and I was like, oh no, I really hope it's not like this in Kaohsiung. And I was pleasantly surprised when I arrived in Kaohsiung to find that the weather was warm, mostly warm during the day, a bit chilly at night, but it was amiable. It was bearable. I quite enjoyed it, and then it started getting hot. So summer is definitely on the way, and you can feel it during the day. I wore liquid foundation today, and let's just say it wasn't extremely pleasant. It wasn't unpleasant because it's not really the worst time yet, but yeah, it's pretty much getting there. Actually, I was talking to one of my teachers at school, and I said to him, "Oh, 老师, oh, 今天好热,天气好热." And then he says to me, He looks at me and he actually says, he smiles with this evil, like an evil smile, and he goes, 更可怕的时间还没到. And basically what he was trying to say was, the most scariest time has not yet arrived. And I could just tell from his expression that when it hit me, I would appreciate the time we're experiencing now. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be positive and I'm trying to enjoy this time. But luckily, I enjoy swimming. So I swim 3 times a week. And that's been really good for managing, the heat and everything. But it's a lot to cope with because actually we're right by the sea. And literally, my school is next to the beach, which would be great, except the beach is kind of dirty. So I can't swim there. But anyway, yeah, so it's a bit humid as well. So excuse me, I'm not really that used to the hot, humid weather, but apparently it'll get much worse. Perhaps it's like our Durban, which is not that nice. It's like you can't breathe the air for the first few hours you're there. It's heavy. So I'm really, really hoping that at least our air will come by slowly and it will be bearable and I will be used to it quickly. Because really I enjoy comfortable weather. Okay, well, everybody enjoys comfortable weather, but I think I'm really a sissy when it comes to being uncomfortable. But luckily it's hot, which means you can swim, which means you can take a shower, and yeah, it'll be fine. It's not like in the cold weather, like Korea, where you just feel like, oh, you're in, and then you come out, and then it's like, brrr. So I'm really, really not looking forward to the hot, humid weather, but I can almost say that I am mentally preparing myself. So I am in the process of getting ready for the summer to arrive. And I don't want to make my videos too long, so I'm actually going to do it every week. I'll post a new video. But the last thing that I've noticed while I'm here is the food. Now, when people think they're coming to Taiwan, usually when we talk about oh, I'm going to be eating in Taiwan, we actually talk about street food. Now, to give you a bit of background about Taiwan and food and everything, Taiwan really is a food haven. The food is absolutely delicious. But when people talk about Taiwan food, it is usually limited to night markets and perhaps famous restaurants, and for the English teachers, obviously the English canteen. But I don't really think they count that on the list of, oh, Taiwan food is amazing. I mean, for me personally, the experience is definitely a bit different because I go home and eat at home. I eat, my amma cooks for me, and I eat at home most days. Perhaps lunch I eat at school in the school cafeteria. So it was definitely a pleasant surprise because the food at home is definitely not the street food. I mean, street food is all the, wonderful and amazing things that travel bloggers write about Taiwan. It's dumplings, it's dim sum, it's chicken cutlet. I don't know if you call it that. It's called ji pie in Chinese, which would roughly translate to chicken steak, which is actually what I call it when I talk to my friends, but that's not the right name. And you have chicken pops, and you have all this, delicious and wonderful, seriously fatty and unhealthy food, but that's usually what people talk about when they talk about Taiwan. So we don't really factor in, I mean, unless if you're married to a Taiwanese and you have a mother-in-law who cooks for you all the time, then a lot of expats don't really touch on home-cooked food, which I must say has its own merits. So I really, really, really am enjoying the Taiwanese food here, and I will post more videos about the kind of things I've eaten later, maybe next week. And yeah, I'd also like to just, in terms of food, I'd like to make it a point that Taiwanese people are extremely hospitable. Amma cooks, like for us, I would be happy with one starch, which would be rice, one vegetable, and one meat, because that's what I'm used to eating at home. But she will make like a feast. She'll cook like 2 different meats, and she'll cook like 5 different vegetables. And I know it seems like I'm over exaggerating, but that is literally our dinner every day. And if it wasn't for the fact that I wake up early to go to school on a daily basis, that would be also our breakfast. I remember when I just arrived here, that's actually what we used to have. So yeah, that's something that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to take photos and videos, and at some point I'll introduce you to my ama and akong. Akong is like grandfather, and yeah, it will be great. I'm really really excited to do this video series because I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. I've just sort of been lazy and swamped. It's not really that easy to take Chinese as a school, as an academic subject. It's really not that easy. So, and we'll also talk about that at some point. Yeah, so I'm really glad to have this chance, and I'm really really excited for the next 5 months that lie ahead, and to tell you about everything that's happening. And if you would like to watch more videos, just subscribe and wait for the latest update. Let's make it every Thursday. Let's make it every Friday because I don't know. Let's make it every Saturday because that's my free day. And today will be a Thursday because I just happened to think of it, and I'm on my bed and it's not perfect and my hair's not done and my makeup's all messed up. But I was really excited to do this, so I just did it. And the video's shaky because I'm holding it with my hand. But I think it doesn't defeat the purpose. So yeah, it was very nice to do this, and I'll see you next week. Bye.